Well, good morning, viewers. Today we have a 2012 Dodge Ram 1500 4x4 crew cab, and it's here because a number of warning lights are on for some routine maintenance as well. Let's have a look at what we've got. We got the ABS light on, airbag warning light on, SRS four-wheel drive, and traction control light on. Now, he didn't say there was any drivability symptoms associated with it, but we're going to throw the scan tool on it. It's got 137,798 kilometers, which isn't very much. He's not complaining about any drivability problems. No check engine light. So let's throw the scanner on it and do a network scan. So here we have the new vehicle record. I don't think I've ever scanned this before, so we're going to load a new vehicle record, display fitted systems, and let's do a code scan. Implausible left wheel distance signal received. Well, that will turn on the ABS, traction control, and service four-wheel drive, but it should not turn on the airbag warning light, so maybe that's a separate problem. Left rear wheel speed circuit. Implausible left wheel distance. Okay, left rear wheel. Left rear wheel speed sensor. Left rear seat. Left seat deployment squib. Okay, so that's why the airbag light is on, and those two problems are not likely related. ECU reset recovery. Lost communication with master power switch. Heated mirror. Implausible data received from the ABS. Some HVACs. Codes stored in history, low battery voltage, antenna, low tire pressure. So the codes of concern are the, let's see here, left side seat deployment squib, and left rear wheel speed sensor signal erratic performance. So let's put it up in the air and have a visual inspection of that wiring harness. Well, that would likely do it. Speed sensor wire broken off. So we're going to see if we can repair this harness. Fortunately, it's in an area where it doesn't bend, but you know, these harnesses are prone to getting pelted by rocks from the front wheels, especially if you drive on gravel roads. All right, well, let's see if we can fix this. So these are what I use as seamless butts, uninsulated butt sleeves. Strip the wire back, put 2 pieces of heat shrink, and then 1 piece of heat shrink over the entire harness that we're going to slide down and shrink after we shrink the individual wires. I don't think you need to solder those. The wire is pristine and they're mechanically crimped. If you want to solder them, go ahead, but I don't typically solder them, and if the wire is pristine. So this is what I use with heat shrink tube. It's got the jelly internally in it, and it's 1/8. I buy it from Amazon. 50 feet will last a while. So you see how the jelly oozes out of it. Once it cools, I'll slide this down and then heat shrink this complete piece on here. Then we'll retape it and secure it and put some plastic guard over it. That might help. So there's a heat shrink and loom put over the wire, and it's routed. I didn't have to add any wire to it. It was long enough. So we'll clear the codes and this should be good to go. So we're going to go into the ABS and codes menu and check it for codes. No codes present. So we'll call this one fixed. I guess we got to check that airbag system. Yeah, I forgot about that. That was a code for one of the deployment pretensioners, left side seat deployment squib. I wonder if we can see the status of the squibs. In other words, the effective resistance in the data list. Sometimes it's just a connection with oxidized terminals in it. Driver air front squib 2.7, 2.3. Let's see on this side. Driver's airbag frontal squib 2 resistant. Passenger airbag frontal squib 2 resistance. It's not out of range right now. Unless there's another data parameter that I'm missing here. Let's revisit the code again. Left side seat deployment squib 1. So that's driver's side. Driver airbag frontal, that's one in the steering wheel. Passenger airbag frontal, that's the one in the dash. Driver airbag, so it doesn't show you the seat. Doesn't show you the seat. I'm going to look around. So the status of the SRS lamp is requested to be on according to the data parameters. Now this data list doesn't show you the seat squibs. And I'm not sure if it's available or not. So we're going to have to explore the troubleshooting chart. Maybe it'll suggest the data list to view the status of the resistance in the data list. But this just shows driver and passenger squib 1 and squib 2 because they're two-stage airbags, but not the seat airbags. So on Identifix, using a keyword search for B0020, I see a couple of cases, and it says driver's side seat airbag connector. Airbag light is on with code B0020-13 for left side seat thorax squib 1 open. Let's read this. Access the driver's seat airbag connector, unplug it and place a paper clip or jumper wire across the pins of the harness and the connector. Next, reconnect the battery, turn the key on and check the airbag codes. Low or shorted. If it changes to left side low or shorted, the wiring between the connector and the occupant restraint controller are good, and the problem is with the airbag side of the system. Check the airbag wiring pigtail for damage. If the code stays the same, check the wiring harness between the connector and the occupant restraint controller for opens. Pay careful attention and carefully inspect the 1400A connector. It is yellow, 14-way under the driver's seat. So given this being a work truck, I think we'll move the truck back and look at the connectors under the seat. So there is that yellow connector under the seat. I don't want to disturb it. I want to scan it with the Think tool to see if that data parameter for the squib resistance is available and it's missing in the Snap-on data. Let's go into SRS, occupant restraint classification. Enter. Let's read the fault code, make sure it's still there. I didn't touch the connector. B0020-13. Open circuit. Read data stream. Driver airbag resistance. Let's try typing in resistance. So this is basically the same as the snap-on scan tool. So they don't squib 1, squib 1, squib 2, squib 2. So that's the driver's side has a 2-stage airbag, squib 1 and squib 2, and the passenger side has a 2-stage airbag. So we're going to follow the troubleshooting steps that we're going to try cycling the connector. I'm going to turn the key off and unplug that connector and look at it. This connector underneath here. You can see that as you move the seat, the wiring's got to move with the seat. So if the seat gets moved a lot, that's a problem. So this has got gold-plated terminals. So I'm going to put some Stabilitin 22A on the terminals and plug it back in again. That's this stuff here. Doesn't want to focus. Focus. So let's read fault codes again. Oh, I got to turn the key on. It says stored. I don't know if it said active before. I'll have to go back and watch my video. Clear fault code. Yes. Read fault code. No DTCs. And the warning light was out. So I'm going to wiggle the connections underneath there in case it's compromised wires. No dinging, no airbag warning light. No fault codes. So some oxidation on the terminals, even though they're gold plated. When I unplugged that connector, it didn't seem like it was completely latched, but I couldn't tell because it came off pretty easy, which is unusual for Chrysler connectors. But that's it for now. If the problem reoccurs, we'll have to go on further. Thanks for watching. So I keep telling Snap-on they need a topology map, and I realize that it's not 100% accurate, but it's a graphical representation of all the controllers on one screen. So you can see I did a network scan. I've still got a code in the PCM because it has a code against the ABS. I didn't clear that. I just cleared the ABS codes. Implausible left wheel distance sensor. So I should have went back. I meant to go back. Clear DTCs. And I've got a clean battery charger on it. Any module that reports green has got no codes and talked. Any module that reports red has got a code of some kind. And if it's gray, it's either non-existent or did not communicate, which is nice to know. The Snap-on scan tool ignores modules that don't communicate as if there's nothing wrong with them. And sometimes that's valid, but sometimes it's not. If the customer recently disconnected the battery, it could clear codes that might take a little bit of time to set for communication problems. Just a little tip.